Welcome, everyone. My name is Dr. Leggett, Dr. Ariel Leggett with Rutgers Living Learning Communities. We're here to tell you a little bit about what we're doing with our living learning communities. Our priority deadline was May 15th, but there is time still for folks to apply. So I'm going to kick it off to Ife. She'll be sharing that information with us.
Hello, my name is Ife Campbell. I'm the Senior Program Coordinator for Academic Initiatives, and I work with Dr. Leggett in the Central Living Learning Communities office. Before we get too far into the presentation, just wanted to do some quick housekeeping. As an attendee of this webinar, you do not have access to your video or microphone. Please wait until we're done with the presentation before asking your questions, as we will likely be discussing some of the questions you have to try to provide as much clarity regarding the Living Learning Communities program within Residence Life and the process for applying. You can see all of the questions in the chat, so if you do have the same question, rather than retyping your question, please hit the thumbs up button so we can see that it's a popular question and we make sure to answer it and give it some time in terms of response. Any LLC specific questions not answered will be responded to via email through the participant list. Additionally, this conversation is about living learning communities. If you have a question specifically about housing in general, that is best directed to our housing team at oncampus@rutgers.edu. Also, just wanted to start off with a spirit of gratitude. So, thank you so much for showing up today. We're going to be very excited for you when you come to campus and show up to class, connect with your peers, and attend the intentionally designed engagement opportunities that we have available. So thank you for showing up for yourselves and for us. And we hope you make the decision to complete your application with intention and truly be a part of our communities. So before we get fully started, I just want to give us a quick agenda of what we'll be talking about today. First, I'll be doing an LLC overview. We'll review the Residence Life LLC application process, as I know that's probably what most folks have questions about. We're going to have our student experience testimonial from Ivana, who's currently a health, actually not currently anymore, just finished her first year. No longer a health and medicine LLC member, but was just recently in the program just last year. And then we'll have some time for questions, both in the chat and we'll respond verbally as well. All right, so quick overview. What are the LLCs? They have four main components, being community. They all have a common course. We have living learning community staff members, and there are out of classroom activities and LLC participation opportunities. But the main definition that we use is a community of residents who share similar academic interests and explore them in a common course, in addition to out of classroom activities. Each community has a peer mentor or community navigator, living learning community resident assistant, and a faculty course instructor. So how do we specifically define our living learning communities? So all LLC residents, they're required to live in the same resident hall within the same floor or wing as other community members. So if you decide to be a part of the LLC, your roommate will have to be an LLC member. If you know that you have potential roommate interest and people that you would like to engage with, you both must apply for and be accepted into the LLC, or you will not be placed together. So please take a moment if you know that you're applying for one specific community and your intended roommate is not, or they're applying for a different community, you two would have to agree on the same community to be placed together within Residence Life. And if you have not selected a roommate or you don't have anybody that you're looking to room with, you will be placed with another LLC community member. So that's one way to know for sure that you have at least one thing in common. As you can see in this list here, I'm not going to read each of them. You can see where all of the LLCs are located. Just a note about Best Hall. Best does hold our Health and Medicine LLC, our Odasis Health and Medicine LLC, and Discovery Advantage First Year Neighborhood. The Bishop Quads, they hold our cultural LLCs, as we call them, Asian American Identities and Images, Latin Images, and Paul Robeson focused on the African diaspora. Linton Towers holds our SAS EOF LLC. To be a part of that LLC, you must be an EOF scholar. So if you have not already sent in that application, you must do so to be considered for that community. In Quad 3, we have our Business and Economics LLC, in addition to our Entrepreneurship and Innovations LLC. That's on Livingston campus, so it's really close to our RBS. building and at Rutgers, New Brunswick. And then in Tinsley Hall, we have Law and Political Science, Leadership, and Psychology LLCs. If you missed any of these, you can look at our website and we have all of them listed in addition to a link to those specific buildings with further information. Right. So in addition to community, one requirement of all of our LLCs, except for Discovery Advantage First Year Neighborhood specifically, is a required course. This one I'm not going to read because each of them are very specific to those LLCs, but if you want to check out the list, each LLC has at least one common course that all residents of an LLC participate in together. I'm going to go a bit more into what a section is in a moment, but you can just take a moment to see the course list. All right. So the LLC Central staff takes a lot of time and intention to select specific sections for our LLC residents so that all of our residents that live in the hall together take the same course together. So you can physically walk to class together with your roommate, with your floor mates. You can study together for quizzes and exams. I'll go a bit more into our staffing, but our peer mentors and community navigators do host study sessions based on that specific section so they know where you are in the class, when the next exam is coming up, everything like that. You'll be able to work on projects with people you already know. You'll meet them during orientation and you'll be living with them already in the building. You'll have the same professor, LSC faculty partner who strengthens learning community, and you'll build friendships and support systems easier within your class. So, as some of you might know, a section is a specific time, date, location, professor for a course. How we identify sections at Rutgers is their index number. So the index number must match for you to know that you're in the exact same section as the other LLC members. It is imperative that when I send you an email telling you, yay, you've been accepted to your LLC, here's your course, here's the section, you make sure that you register for the correct section. If you are not registered for the correct section, I will be verifying just to make sure that everybody's in the right place. Please just take time to look at the index number, make sure it matches, and we'll have a great time throughout the year. All right, moving on from there, discussing our wonderful LLC staff members. First, we have the Residence Life Academic Initiatives team, which is comprised of me and Dr. Leggett. We have our Residence Life coordinators who staff our buildings, so they manage all of the day-to-day operations. They coordinate with a lot of our campus partners related to building operation and engagement. We have our Graduate Neighborhood Coordinator for the Discovery Advantage First Year Neighborhood. We have our community navigators or peer mentors. Community navigators and peer mentors serve a similar role. They just work in separate communities. So we only have community navigators within Best Hall. So if you are interested in any of those LLCs, you would have a community navigator who works 10 hours a week, hosts drop-in hours about 6 hours a week, hosts 2 study sessions per month, and then also plans engagement opportunities for students within their building. A peer mentor does almost exactly the same functions, but the timing is just a little different. So a peer mentor has 2 hours worth of drop-in hours. They host 1 study session a month, and then they also plan engagement opportunities for all students at the same capacity. In addition to those student staff members, we have our LLC resident assistants who are also student staff members. They also serve in the role of being on call. They have a different role within residence life overall in terms of engagement and making sure that students are safe. In addition to our staff within the LLC program, we have our connections that we help students make throughout Rutgers University. So firstly, being the course instructor slash faculty partners that we work with to get the specific section of the course that we work with, in addition to our alumni and employers who come in for different professional networking events such as Mocktail Mixer or Meet the Professionals. We also have certain alumni come back to speak to our students and have networking roundtables and different opportunities. So if you are still interested, there are some requirements of participation to have as robust and engaged of a community as possible. We do ask that our LLC members enroll in the LLC course, the specific section, attend at least 2 programs and events hosted by LLC staff per semester. So each semester, our LLC staff members are hosting at least 2 programs and events. So there's at least 6 opportunities to engage. There's likely going to be more, but those are the minimal numbers for both parties. and then engage in building community with other LLC members. We don't want you to just live here. We want you to engage past the course, engage past the programs. We encourage you to make friends. We encourage you to network. There's always a resource within the building. Please engage and please learn the people that you're around. So, eligibility, you must be a residential student. You must be applying /intend to live on campus. These are residential programs, so you will have to live in the same building as the LLC is hosted. So, for example, if you're interested in the Leadership LLC, you would have to live in Tinsley Hall. If you're interested in Health and Medicine LLC, you will be residing in Best Hall. Roommates, to reiterate again, if you have a selected roommate, they must apply for and be accepted to the same community for you to be placed together in the same space. For health and medicine and ODASIS, you must be eligible to take the required biology or chemistry course. If you believe that you might AP out, so you've taken the AP exam for biology or chemistry, and you're really confident about your score, DAFN would be the better fit, Discovery Advantage First Year Neighborhood. For our students interested in business and psychology, you must be eligible to take the required course. If you may AP out of microeconomics or general psych, unfortunately, the LLC experience here is not the best fit, as we do require our students to engage in those courses to build those connections academically as well. So here are just a few points to reiterate when you're taking a moment to identify if the LLC program is a fit for you, or if you're really interested. You are excited to engage with the community surrounding your interest, whether that be specifically academic or more topic-based. You can commit to attend at least 2 programs and events a semester. So that is a big portion of us building community with you, of us helping you engage with the topic of the LLC, of having those moments of clarity to explore the topic and engage with others that have similar interests as you. You will take the applicable LLC course or courses in the specific section during the fall 2026 and spring 2027 semesters. You're excited to participate in events like field trips, professional development, and more. You want to be in a tight-knit community during your first year at Rutgers, so you're very interested in knowing people who have the same interests as you, engaging with those on your floor, learning about the topic the LLC is related to, and meeting new people overall. You are excited to connect with LLC faculty and staff members to enhance your learning in and out of the classroom. And just in general, you're excited to be a Scarlet Knight. So as I mentioned, the requirements of the LLC, we do want to discuss what success will look like. So attend LLC member orientation, which is tentatively August 26th. More information will be provided to those that are accepted and decide to stay with us in the LLC program. We just really want people that are interested in participating in the community. You're only going to get out as much as you put in. We do a lot to make sure that you have a lot of options and opportunities, but at the end of the day, you have to bring yourself to those. So we're really encouraging and excited for students that are interested in doing that to be a part of our communities. This looks like attending events and programs, interact with resources offered within the building, build relationships with student staff members and other LLC members, explore your majors and leadership interests through the opportunities offered in and outside of the classroom, and register for your LLC course. And overall, you're just interested in setting yourself up for success at Rutgers University. So quick overview. I did mention that there are a few different communities residing within BEST. So just wanted to go over kind of how to distinguish which community might be a best fit for you. So as I mentioned, we do have common courses for all of our LLCs except Discovery Advantage First Year Neighborhood. So with health and medicine, you would have to take the biology course. With ODASIS, you would have to take the chemistry course. If you chose to be in Discovery Advantage First Year Neighborhood, there is no course requirement. Engagement looks different across those communities as well. So for health and medicine, you attend 2 health and medicine events. So those are events specifically put on by the health and medicine community navigators and LLCRAs. With DAFN, you attend 1 community navigator event, so the specific community navigator on your floor, and you participate in the DAFN challenge. Then for ODASIS residents, there are a lot of already supplemental opportunities for you. So the engagement requirement looks a little different. So you're going to attend ODASIS supplemental instruction, one-to-one advising, practice exams, and study halls. And lastly, for our core event engagement, core event are opportunities put on by the Discovery Advantage First Year Neighborhood Faculty and Staff Committee, who partners with various offices across campus. So you would be attending one of those. If you're a health and medicine or ODASIS, you're only required to attend one per semester. And then if you are a Discovery Advantage First Year Neighborhood resident, you are required to attend three. These are put on at various times on various days, so there's always an opportunity for students to attend. We have load of opportunities to engage and meet different partners that we have on campus, engage in different resources on campus, and they happen at different times throughout the day. So it should be able to fit within the schedule. Yep. So next steps overall, as Dr. Leggett mentioned, our priority deadline was on May 15th. Those that applied by the priority deadline of May 15th at 11:59 will receive correspondence by May 22nd. So you'll be aware of whether or not you are receiving an offer to participate in our communities or not. There will be a rolling review of applications after May 22nd. So it's not closed just yet, but we do encourage you to apply as soon as possible as other students have already met that priority deadline. Take some time to identify which community best aligns with your interests, with your intentions for your first year at Rutgers. For Discovery Advantage First Year Neighborhood, Health and Medicine, and Entrepreneurship and Innovation communities, they all require an essay. We have had some like digital complications for certain students. So occasionally, if you're not able to see the essay after you've already sent in your application or tried to send in your application, it's sometimes a cache issue. So you might need to go into a private browser and sign in that way or reload and then come back later. For the Odasis LLC, you complete the housing application, select that you're interested in Odasis chemistry, and then you need to go to the Odasis webpage to complete their application, which is supplemental and on a different page. If you are accepted into the LLC, no further action is necessary. You are automatically enrolled within the LLC and you will begin getting a placement for your housing within the LLC areas and all the buildings. If you change your mind and you no longer want to participate in the LLC, you are provided a small time frame to decline. We understand that when you're applying, you're making a commitment to participate in this program. If you change your mind, you do have an option, but you need to respond within that time frame. Um, we have a decline form that you can fill out, and that will inform us that you're no longer interested, and we will take time to offer it to the next student on the list. If you are waitlisted, which occasionally does happen, whether that be that the community is full at this point and there are other students that might possibly decline, we do have a waitlist form for you to fill out as well. So whether or not you want to stay on the waitlist, if you want to go back into the general pool, or if you would like to apply for a different community, you are able to make those selections and options if you're provided the waitlist opportunity. All right. So now we're going to add, that's the end of our presentation for the main part. We're going to ask that folks can start adding their questions into the Q&A, and then we'll start responding right after we get our student testimonial from Ivana.
Ivana, you can unmute and go
Sorry.
ahead and share your, yeah.
Hi everyone. My name is Ivana Krofi. I am a genetics major. I just finished my first year in health and medicine LLC. So I'm just here to talk a little bit about my experience over the year. First off, as a health and medicine student, I still have access to a bunch of DAFN opportunities. So I have access to both opportunities. In my experiences, I really got to be a part of a community. It was a really nice transition from high school into college. I think it really helped me feel supported and also um, feel like I'm working towards a goal with other like-minded people. It was really easy to study with people when you're taking the same classes and like the same lectures as them. We all kind of like walk to class together, go to like dinner after lecture, stuff like that together. It really helped me build a sense of community and also um, learn how to learn for college, I think was really cool. Every time we have an exam coming up, everybody studies together in the study lounge. You'll see people people's work on whiteboards and you can see how other people are learning. There's always someone to ask questions to if you're lacking understanding, but it's also really nice because we have our lecturer who our professor is also a partner with the LLC. So it feels really comfortable being able to ask questions in and outside of lecture. And we have additional support outside of lecture too in this thing called chew and chat sessions, where we basically have a bunch of candy and we're able to ask any question we have for lecture or for an exam. Additionally, the types of events that we had in the dorm this semester, we had so many events. We were able to meet organizations from Rutgers in our dorm. They all came. We had like a mini involvement fair. We had a mocktail mixer where we got to meet professionals in our fields and kind of go around and talk to each of them individually, which was really, really cool. And I think the main highlight of my year was definitely our PCOM trip. We were able to visit the Philadelphia Osteopathic or College of Osteopathic Medicine. It was a really, really cool experience. We were able to go into their cadaver lab and I held a brain. It was so cool. And additionally, it's just really cool to see what you're working towards and what med school actually looks like. I feel like a lot of times pre-med students or pre-health students in general can get very caught up in school and in studying and in the next exam, and we kind of lose sight of what it is we're actually working towards. So that was definitely a big motivation for me to see what exactly it is that I'm working so hard for and why I'm working so hard to get there. Which was it was just insane to be able to be in a med school. Additionally, with the faculty and staff are so helpful. Personally, my peer mentor Raymond, he would hold biology Jeopardies for us to help get ready for exams. And basically, you just see like the whole community come together. A lot of us would make it like really competitive. It was just really fun to try to see where our understanding was for exams. It was really cool. Additionally, there's so much access to help. We have CAPS sessions in the dorm. There's so many different ways to access resources you need, and everybody's just really open and welcoming. I never once felt like there was a issue I had that I didn't know a person to ask for help. Yeah. And additionally, I think overall, the LLC has really, really helped me establish myself and kind of establish my sense of self in college. Without the LLC, I wouldn't have gotten my e-board position in my club. I wouldn't have had so much involvement on campus. I wouldn't have been able to give back to community like I am now without the LLC. And I think it's just really cool to be part of something like this. I think it's a really rare experience that you don't really get outside of being in an LLC. And you just meet so many driven people, and it really motivates you to find something that you can do to help others. And I think that's a really good way to summarize the LLC. It's just very selfless and always helping. So yeah, overall, that was my experience in the LLC this year.
Thank you, Ivana. Can you advance to the next slide for me, Ife, if there's anything? Okay. So we're going to go ahead and take some time to answer. Oop, yeah, to answer some questions. I've attempted to start this in the chat. And if you have any questions for Ivana as well, feel free to drop them in. She's also assisting us. So, in terms of music majors in Mason Gross, we don't have any LLCs that are specific to that. However, you can still I would recommend identifying a roommate that has a similar interest and perhaps pairing that way, but we don't have a specific LLC for this purpose. Um, and the procedure for requesting a roommate change in case the auto-signed roommate is not a good match. I would suggest, yes, there is a procedure at the top of the year. The resident assistants, they connect with the students to complete roommate agreements. And so it's an expectation that folks are try to work out some of the things that, may be uncomfortable. We encourage you to have conversations because that is the real world. You generally just don't move out. And right in the real world, you paid a lease and you have a roommate, and it's kind of like you got to figure it out. So, um, the RA definitely will mediate any situations, but when it comes down to it, if it's just not working, you have to demonstrate that you've put some effort in, with the RA and the student that you're having difficulty with. And if that can't get resolved, you can move to a different space, but there is a specific time frame in which that can happen, and also it depends on occupancy. So if we're 100% full, there's nowhere to necessarily move you to. But we have backup plans for those kind of things. So long and short of it is yes, there's a procedure, and we will work through any discomfort with the students. And okay, just so folks are aware, because I see some folks said that there's an echo in the background on our end. We're not hearing that, but we will email the recording and the slides, so you'll have that information free of echo for a later time. My son is in the honors program. How does LLC benefit him, or is this in addition to his regular programs? So, if your son, as an honor student, chooses to participate in this living learning community, it depends on which community he determines is of interest to him, and the focus would be on that theme. So, for example, if it's business and economics, then those students are taking a specific class together, such as the first year interest group seminar for business, and having conversations around that. So the honors portion is separate from our theme of the community. So it depends on which theme, LLC theme, your student is interested in, but honors is separate from these LLCs. So is LLC available for aerospace engineering students for second year and above? So many of the communities that we described today are for incoming first year students. We have a couple communities for transfer students, but specifically for second year and above, those would be our cultural living learning communities. So Asian American Identities, Latin Images, and Paul Robeson, but that in those communities, there's not a focus on aerospace engineering. Um, so the long and short of it, no, there's not one for second year and above for aerospace engineering. The second year communities are our cultural living learning communities. So if you're a first year, I suggest that you take advantage of this opportunity because, again, like for example, Discovery Advantage, first year neighborhood, health and medicine, business and economics, psychology, a lot of the communities are first year oriented. And so, yeah, I think this would be the year if you are an incoming first year to participate in those communities. Does the LLC you join have a lineup with the school of your major? So I'm a finance major and I'm interested in joining the Law and Political Science LLC, and I see Ife's also answering that question. So yes, I would encourage folks to go to our website, rulc.rutgers.edu, and again, you'll be able to see all of the opportunities, and every living learning community has a designated school with it. So, for example, finance, we are working with business and economics. I'm sorry, we are working with Rutgers Business School and School of Arts and Sciences. Law and Political Science LLC, we are working with School of Arts and Sciences and the Political Science Department. So every LLC has an academic department that we connect with for the respective LLC, except for DAFN because there is no course requirement. So the 5 schools that are connected to DAFN for the purposes of programming, um, that's where that connection comes in. But the LLC does not have to line up with the school of your major, if I'm answering that correctly. Yeah. So it doesn't matter what your major is except for DAFN. DAFN is a STEM-focused living learning community, but our music major from Mason Gross, if you wanted to be in the psychology LLC, we're not going to stop you. It's about your interest and exploration. So the only limitations are with the DAFN and Health and Medicine LLC, more so DAFN. For our commuters, living learning communities require you to live in the environment. So these communities aren't necessarily for that purpose for a commuter student. However, I believe Douglas has an opportunity. So folks who are interested in Douglas Residential College, you'd have an opportunity as a commuter to participate in their living learning communities before, which is separate from our operation. But I'm relatively sure that Douglas does allow commuters, so you might want to look at their page. Um,
There is a question about the deadline. So the priority deadline for DAFN Health and Medicine was May 15th, but it's rolling, so you can still apply. So feel free to keep applying.
Thanks, Savannah.
Yeah.
If I apply for LLC and at the same time for regular housing. So let's say you apply for an LLC and we're taking a moment to look at your application. If for whatever reason you will roll into general housing, we will either accept or decline you. And at that time, if we declined you, for example, you'd be placed into the general housing selection. So you don't lose out by applying for an LLC. We'll get back to you in the time frame that we've worked out with the operations team, the hospitality and operations team, to make sure that you get placed back in the housing selection process if for whatever reason being in an LLC does not work out for you, so that you can go ahead and select your general housing. So there's no conflict there. Um, yeah, so an incoming freshman for the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences for microbiology. That curriculum did not seem to be mentioned. What residence would I be a part of, and what are the benefits I would expect from the normal college experience? Yeah, so SEVs, again, like throughout our LLCs, a student can apply. So that SEV student can apply to Paul Robeson or law and political science. So our LLCs are about exploration. So it does not necessarily have to be a one-to-one in terms of alignment of your major. However, if you're looking to explore, for example, if you were taking biology, you did an AP out of biology, maybe you want to participate in the Health and Medicine LLC, or you want to participate in ODASIS if chemistry is where you're going to be. Um, Most folks have to take chemistry at some point if they're, in that track. So you could select from one of those communities and kind of drill down on the SEBS experience related to biology or chemistry, or you could choose Discovery Advantage First Year Neighborhood and just, be surrounded with STEM students. So again, I encourage you to take a look at our page, rulc.rutgers.edu, to see what the offerings are. And it talks about the benefits of each community, what the expectations are, all of the details. So go ahead and do some homework in that regard. And once a student is accepted in the LLC, do they have to continue to be part of the LLC post freshman year? So the answer is no. You have to, if you want to return to a community, and again, the only returner communities are Asian American Identity, Latin Images, and Paul Robeson. If you want to return to those communities, you have to demonstrate that you participated in the community, and then you can return for a second year. We also have a limited number of spots, etc. But you could also come from, you decide you don't want to participate in an LLC this year and you want to participate in one next year. Those three communities are the ones that you would have open to you. But At this point, we don't have any second year experiences. We've tried that in the past with some communities, and we found that oftentimes the first years find, the people that they really enjoy being with, and they go off and live happily ever after with those folks. They go into the housing selection system. So the second year experience for us hasn't necessarily panned out. Doesn't mean we won't try that again, but right now we don't have many second year experiences. So it's a one and done for us. And we always will call folks back to participate in things, to be speakers for different events, etc. But the expectations of you being in the community beyond the first year does not hold for us. What if your section conflicts with a class? That's a great question. So the living learning community course is what would take precedence. So we would expect you to fit all of your other classes around the LLC course. And so that's why certain schools we don't work with, because we've learned that, for example, nursing, well, more so like School of Engineering doesn't work well with the health and medicine curriculum. So we've learned that from experience and have told students like it's probably not a good idea as an engineering student that you participate in this community. But overall, as a first year student, it tends to be that our selections fit into the schedule because we've worked with the academic departments to select those, right? And confirm with them that this probably should work. And for example, for health and med, we choose you know, classes from different days and times so that students have many, many options to choose from when selecting their schedule. And it doesn't always work out. And in those instances, a student, would not be in the LLC anymore. But for many of the LLCs, registrar is registering the students for this first lineup of classes in the fall. And that information will come to you in the email. Um, and so you don't have to worry about getting the LLC section on your schedule necessarily. And this is only for most of our LLCs. Some students will have to select their sections. For example, health and medicine will need to select their sections because there are so many options. We need you to figure out what works for your schedule. Yeah. All right. Hopefully we're getting down to it. But thanks for sticking with us. So if I want to transfer to the Honors College in my second year, would I have to leave the engineering LLC, or am I allowed to be in both at once? So again, there's no second year, so that is a moot question. Is LLC available for all 4 years? No, it's just the in your first year, or you can participate as a continuing student in Asian American Identities, Latin Images, or Paul Robeson. So if you're declining your first year, can a student apply with the hope of getting into an LLC as a sophomore? Just the ones that I mentioned. And is there any grading, et cetera, in LLC? Yeah, so these are real courses. You're taking these for credit. And so, yes, there is grading in the LLCs because you have signed up for a course connected to the LLC. And then myself, Ife, and the team, we work on creating programs that are connected to the theme of the communities so it can enhance your experience connected to the courses, right? So we might have an instructor come in to do a study session or talk about, you know, Road to Wall Street is an organization on campus for our, folks who are interested in business, and we'll have maybe panelists come and talk about how to apply for Road to Wall Street, and the instructor will, be there as well as, just to have a conversation with students about the experience, that kind of thing. You're not required to attend the program, but you are required to go to class. Well, I would suggest you go to class. So yeah, the course portion is required.
I'll just add for that, like it is what you get out of it. So if you're
What you
having to
put
take a
in, yeah.
class, like it's yeah, what you put in. If you're having to take a class for your LC, it's probably because you need the class to benefit yourself. So all course requirements you should take seriously. Anything that is a course or on your transcript, please take completely seriously, even if it's not like a hard science. Even if you're taking like psych or you're in a business LC and you're taking a class for that, you should take everything completely seriously. It is part of your career and your responsibilities as a student.
Thanks, Ivana. Yeah, and again, we work with the academic departments on this, right? So this is not something that our department just said, oh yeah, let's select this course. So for example, for Latin images, we selected Intro to Latino Studies. It's a 3 credit course, and when you connect it to other courses, you can get a certificate of multicultural competence, right? And the department determined that. So we're kind of just lifting up the work that they're already doing. And all of the courses go towards graduation credits. So yeah, it's important to to follow through on whatever you're signing up for. Okay, so my daughter's in the business school and she already has a good idea of the subject. Due to her high school career, would being in the business and economics LC still be beneficial? I would say yes, because you're surrounding yourself with students who also have an interest in business and or economics. And there's so many divisions within business. So I think in terms of networking, that's also an opportunity. And again, the engagement with the instructors. It's just a way outside of the curriculum. I'd also say to make Rutgers feel like a smaller place. So oftentimes community members just feel very connected to one another and can help each other get through the coursework. And we're having advisors come in to have conversations with students about their next steps as well. So not that folks need the hand holding, right? But if they do, they need an additional more guidance. The Living Learning community does provide that. And for whatever reason, that the student feels like it's not of benefit to them, they could always have a conversation with us about not progressing with the course and or the LLC. So yeah.
I'd also add, like, from my own experience, I did have ample amounts of exposure to research, biology, and chemistry, and I still found my experience in the LLC to be very fulfilling and extremely helpful to my transition to college. I'd say the LLCs, like when we say it's a community, it truly is. It's not only educational or only like purely just like tracking your progress or tracking your career. You get to network with people in your field, you get to make connections with clubs that you wouldn't initially have any exposure to as a freshman. Sometimes it can be hard to just know what's available. Also, Rutgers has so many clubs and just there's so many different opportunities, and I think it could be slightly overwhelming coming in as a freshman. So to have guidance or to have people just like in your dorm or having peer mentors who are like, "Oh, I was in this club. This was really helpful to me for my career. You should join this." Is really, really nice. And also you get to know people who are doing different things on campus and you get to have an idea of how you can fit and also like what matches your interests. So it's really cool in that way.
And I would also add that if the student feels like it's not of benefit for them, again, to bring it to our attention because we can make tweaks along the way, whether that being, I really want X person to have a conversation with us. Now I can't bring, uh, Facebook to, I don't have any personal connections to Mark Zuckerberg, but we can find alumni around, right? Again, to hone in on conversations. So yeah, we want the students also, long story short, to provide feedback about what the experience is for them in real time so that we can make adjustments. Yeah, it looks like we've answered all the questions. Thanks so much for your time. This is the end of our presentation. We will be sending out the slides and the recording. Again, encouraging you to go to oncampus.rutgers.edu and apply. If you don't have anything to lose by applying. We accept you. You decide that's not for you. We just encourage you to decline as soon as possible so you can make space for another student. So thanks for your time. Have a good night, everyone.